It is June 10th, 2021, 5:44 p.m. This is episode 1266. I wrote this cartoon last Friday, I believe. It might have been last Thursday. But I knew I was going to do it, so I didn't post it with my roughs. I pushed it aside, but I left it where I could see it, because if I don't do that, I will forget about it. I think I honestly have like two more like that that's sitting there waiting for me to do at the right time. And one of them I've already published as a rough, so I'm probably not going to do that one. Sometimes when I go back to an idea I wrote like a week ago that I've been intending to, I kind of felt like Van Halen when they did that last album with David Lee Roth, where, they couldn't write any new songs together because, they weren't the same people so that they used to be, and they couldn't work together really, so they just re-recorded a bunch of demos that they did in the 70s that were never released. I imagine that, they all got together to write, and David Lee Roth shows up and says, I got a great idea, starts off with me screaming, and I kick, and they're like, yeah, let's just go back to the vault. But I still have ideas. I'll write new ideas tonight. Such. There's one topic I want to do, and but I haven't really completed. I have the concept in my head, and it's like a funny concept, but I haven't really nailed it to be hilarious yet. And maybe it won't work out. Maybe it won't be hilarious. I love drawing Barney here. I got some comments on Barney. Actually, I have about 6 or 7, not 6 or 7, I've probably got like 3 or 4. There probably should be 6 or 7. I have about 3 or 4 ideas, subjects written down that I need to cover that I don't have ideas yet, and I'm wondering what's the right time to do it. So, we say influence Biden's in Europe right now, and he's about to meet Putin, but there's a week to meet Putin, so I can take a little time with that one. I really like going back to drawing these presidents. When I started my career, George H.W. Bush was president, and my caricature of him back then was probably a copy of what everybody else was doing. Didn't really look at him for how I should draw him. I missed Reagan by a few years. Reagan would have been a lot of fun, but honestly, if I'd started drawing Reagan when I was a kid, it probably wouldn't have been very good. It might have been better what I'm doing now. So anyway, everybody else I just figured out by myself after Bush. Clinton just kind of evolved to what he was. Clinton was easy, and I enjoyed drawing Clinton. I really loved drawing George W. Bush. He was just a lot of fun. Obama I had trouble with because even though he had big ears and eyebrows, he's not a bad-looking guy. And I guess none of these people are bad-looking guys, but Obama was suave, so it was pretty tough. Had nothing to do with skin color. I don't have problems with that. But he was young. Clinton was young too, but Clinton had that big chin and he had the nose, so that just made it. Obama's features they were not on his face; they were his ears. So I didn't really have a lot to do with that. Biden has been a challenge, but he's kind of settling into the groove here with him. So, and of course Donald Trump. Trump was a challenge because he already looked like a cartoon. It's just really, really hard to make fun of somebody who already looks ridiculous. So believe it or not, you might think it's easy, but it's more fun. Like Reagan. Reagan is like the perfect person to do a caricature of. He doesn't look ridiculous, but he has features that you can have fun with. Reagan was a good-looking guy. He was a strong-looking person, He was kind of like everybody's grandfather in a way, if you were white. And, he cared about, or he was a good impression, he cares about you. But he made people feel confident, and he gave that look. He did it pretty well. I think cartoonists at first, when they did Reagan, I look back at this, first couple of years, they made him out to be like a mean Scrooge. And then he came out looking kind of dopey looking, like he was clueless and about to walk into walls and stuff. So he looked kind of lovable in a way. And then I kind of probably did the same thing with Bush, the second Bush. Anyway, talk about caricatures. I better... Comments. I'm going to give a shout out to TJ because he admitted he was wrong. And I actually agree with the rest of the stuff that he writes. So anyway, I said, TJ, you're wrong, you're a liar, blah, blah, blah. But then he came back and said he was wrong. So he kind of like deflated my balloon there. Thanks a lot, TJ. But anyway, I kind of agree with everything that TJ writes. The Senate should have like a rule where everything needs 60 votes, especially confirmations. I hate it when Harry Reid changed it for federal judgeships. And I doubly hated it when McConnell changed it for the Supreme Court justices. Even though here... I understand why Reid did it, because the Republicans weren't letting them have anything, or even cabinet appointees. And that's why I like what TJ says. I agree with that, but to me, this, like, if everything was perfect and we all sit around singing Kumbaya together, it's just not the perfect world. We can't really live like that. I mean, I wish we could. I really, really do. I think there was a time that we could, but not today. I do think whenever you nominate Supreme Court justices or anyone for the bench, you need people who can get 60 votes. You need consensus candidates. Donald Trump, he probably had that in Neil Gorsuch if he hadn't stolen that seat. But the rest, not so much. You know, Kavanaugh shouldn't receive 50 votes, less than 60. And Amy Coney Barrett, she is a cultist. That lady is scary. So, yeah. All of Obama's appointees, they got 60 votes. And other judgeships, federal judgeships underneath that court, were kind of like, they were all lunatics. Even there were some that Republicans couldn't support because they were just unprepared, unqualified. Anyway, I agree with TJ, but I just don't think we can go there with it. And this is like the only time, one of the few times, I'm not going to say only time, one of the few times that TJ and I will agree on something. Robert Coutinho says the last cartoon was kind of playful. And Croc Block says, says, I can't even pronounce the name I created. See the little thumb head when gawking out the viewpoint? It's gonna be my first waffle. Like Bezos he's gonna eat Bezos. Is that what you're saying in that last cartoon? Bezos is delicious. Yeah, maybe if you're an alien. Alright, I actually have another idea with that. Not on Bezos, but with aliens. Everybody, have a great Thursday night. Bye.